Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, I'm TC. This is Minnesota Black Robe Regiment Podcast, MBRR Pod. Um, Real quick shout out to the Angry Vet for being a show producer here from YouTube, and also to IMAV, who's coming over from Subscribestar as a show producer as well. And the Angry Vets stepped up and just done a lot of really amazing stuff for the channel over the last since I've known him, but especially over the last couple of weeks. And while we're at it, IMAB has really done that over at Subscribestar as well. That does not diminish anybody else who is a channel member or on Subscribestar, but I really do want to make sure that everybody understands how much I appreciate what those two do. If you are a channel member, thank you so much for what you do. If you are a regular subscriber, thank you for being here and watching. Please share this out. So as you guys know, and then join the channel if you haven't already. As you guys know, hey AVA, Snarky, thanks for tuning in. Spread this around. As you know, May 18th, Trooper Shane Roper of the Minnesota State Patrol ended the life of an 18-year-old girl from Owatonna, Minnesota, roughly 2 weeks before her graduation. Her name is Olivia Flores. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot. Trooper Roper went untouched, really, in throughout the entire investigation. There was no news, there were no updates at all for for 2 months. In that time, I was digging, getting in behind the scenes, talking to witnesses, talking to people who knew Roper, and I was getting information about him. As you know, if maybe you don't, if you go and look for any of my stories, just in the search, type in Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, Minnesota State Patrol, Trooper Shane Roper, my content on him will come up. You will be able to see that I broke the news on his driving history with the Minnesota State Patrol. I explained how the Minnesota State Patrol, now Colonel Blagovich, who was his direct supervisor at one time, allowed him to become the murderous monster that he became, and ending the life of Olivia Flores on May 18th through his depraved indifference. As you can see, he's being charged with second-degree manslaughter, criminal vehicular operation, both of them felony-level crimes. He did show up for court on August 29th for his very first appearance, from May 18th to August 29th, his very first appearance in court, pending his charges. Throughout that entire time, even after the Rochester, Minnesota Police Department announced that they were done with their investigation, and then it took a while longer for Olmsted County Attorney Mark Ostrom to get around to charging him. Sorry, I gotta take a drink, I'm dry. This is a very odd midday stream for me. Okay, the Lust. But Roper went free. No booking, no mugshot, no nothing. He was just allowed to wander about with the special privilege that is granted to the law enforcement world. And if any of you saw my Drive Time Dialectic on Friday, in response to Brian from Here's the Deal and what he had to say about the nature of corruption in law enforcement, you saw how raw and emotional it was for me. And so when I talk about Roper being treated with kid gloves and getting special treatment, it's true. It's patently and demonstrably true. No, it is not Massachusetts conscious machine. It is Minnesota. So, but it's a problem across the U.S., correct? I mean, we know this, that law enforcement gets special treatment. They are on that upper tier of the criminal justice world, and even when they do something that is blatantly wrong, they get treated with kid gloves. So he goes to his first court appearance, and at the end of his first court appearance, not only did he not enter his own plea, not only did his attorney not enter his plea, the judge entered a plea of not guilty for him and then let him leave the courtroom without ordering him to be booked in. And worse, the Olmsted County Attorney's Office, operated by, under the authority of elected Olmsted County Attorney Mark Ostrom, the attorneys for the state made no motion to the judge, no action to the judge, no complaint to the judge that he wasn't ordered to immediately surrender himself to be booked. So he goes months and months and months and months. So it goes, let's say, from May 18th, June, July, to August, I think it was 29th, 3 months after he killed Olivia Flores. For his first court appearance, no mugshots. No repercussions hanging over his head. He's getting paid by the state of Minnesota. So in other words, he's getting paid by the wage slaves of the state of Minnesota and ultimately all taxpayers across the country, because every law enforcement agency in the United States is funded by federal dollars. And those federal dollars, of course, come from each and every one of you that are watching. Most people aren't aware of this. There is no such thing as a completely independent law enforcement agency in the U.S. They are all agents of the federal state. So then Roper is allowed to go all that time with getting paid. And it was only the week following, Trooper Shane Roper is his name. Lots of content on my channel regarding him. I'd love for you to go and catch up on all of that. So following basically his arraignment and being allowed to leave without being booked in, being allowed to go all those months free, they finally fired him. Well, just a week and a half ago, one of the judges, I think it was Haney, I can't remember for sure, one of the judges looking at the case announced that Judge Daly inadvertently forgot to order him to book in. And so here we are dealing with, finally he was booked in this morning to the Olmsted County Adult Detention Center, and that's his mugshot in the thumbnail. When I get home, I'm going to doctor it up enough to make the whole thing fit as best as possible. But he was finally booked in. And can someone put up a link? Yeah, can one of the channel mods, if you're here, put a link up? But this is the nature of policing here in the United States, folks. And it's shocking to me that we are struggling the way we are to bring awareness into the minds of these people that seem to just back the blue at all costs. In fact, in one of the Facebook groups that I am part of, somebody had the audacity, the testicular fortitude to go, for all of you that hate the state patrol, here's what you've been wanting. And complete cognitive dissonance, complete disconnect from reality of, here we have this trooper go all these months. I mean, we're into October, almost halfway through October already, and this trooper was able to sit and spend all of this time free, and he's still free. The only difference is he doesn't have his job anymore. He just doesn't have his job anymore. And that disgusts me, and I think it should disgust everyone, and even people who are back the blue at pretty much all cost. Should start to wake up and see these things going on. Should start to wake up and understand that they're not even part of the two-tier system. Well, they are part of the two-tier system. They're on the lower part. And no matter how they treat cops, they eventually will be on the receiving end. So that's kind of how we are. That's where we're at today. So, and while I've got the last few minutes going on, because I have to get back to work here, folks, if somebody could, start going in and, no, thank you, Stephanie, and AVA, thank you for sharing the links. Just put all the links up in the chat real quick while I'm rambling on here at the end. it's just a massively important thing that we start sharing information like this. Is it great that Roper got booked in finally? Yes. Roper should not be free. And he damn sure shouldn't be free on no bond. He should, and I'm a big proponent of the Constitution, as you guys know. I'm a huge proponent of the Constitution. But that Constitution needs to apply to everyone. Absolutely apply to everyone. And what I mean by that is bond should be reasonable. It should not be punitive. It should not it should not be constructed in such a way as to make it impossible for an average person to be able to get out of detention or jail while they're awaiting conviction. Roper has no bond. They asked for $100,000, and the judge released him on his own recognizance as long as he agreed to stay away from the victims. In other words, one victim is deceased. So basically stay away from the family. And the other is no driving or no driving without insurance. So if any of us had done that, today would not have been the first day of a mugshot. And that's why this story is important. It's not time for us to celebrate that he was booked in. What we should be doing is we should be expressing disgust and frustration that it's taken this long for the justice system to get around to getting him to do this. And the worst part of it is, it was directed. He should have been taken into custody immediately that day. And if he wasn't, then the judge should have ordered the Olmsted County Sheriff's Office to procure means to secure Trooper Shane Roper from, I think he's in Mower County, or Steele County is where he lives, to have him immediately arrested and transferred into custody to be booked and released. But they gave him a chance to get it done when it was convenient for him. And they're blue for us, AVA, so don't stress. And I would really appreciate if you guys would push this out, and if you would push the other videos out, because I want a lot of people staying up on this, because you know how the mindset is. A lot of people, our attention spans, even in the accountability community, is very low. And to that end, I want to also announce that on Thursday night, some of you know this already, Thursday night at 6:15 p.m. Central, I am streaming the wedding of Nate and Samantha from Bellevue, Iowa. Samantha was arrested back at the end of April in her own driveway, and my interview with them is up. Well, in that interview, Nate proposed to Samantha. She said yes, and they're getting married on Thursday night. And they humbled me by inviting me to the wedding. I cannot make it, can't afford the trip. I just can't. I don't, I'm broke. I'm poor. I'm poor people. Like a lot of you. I am poor folk. And so I can't make it, and getting the time off from work would be a financial burden to me. But I can do this, and they've humbled me with allowing it. We are streaming their wedding live here on my channel on Thursday night, starting at 6:15. So it's going to be a great time. Please go and find the link to that. It's up and it's ready to go. Find the link to that. Promote the hell out of it. Let's get the accountability activists, the community out there and supporting these guys. And then everybody who does a super chat that night, any of the revenue from the super chats during that stream will go directly to Nate and Sam when I get paid out from YouTube. So I haven't made a big deal about that with them, but I am telling you guys that. So they will get the revenue from any super chats. So if you haven't yet liked this video, share this video. Go down to that join button, hit channel, find a channel membership, and once again, thanks to the Angry Vet for being a show producer here through channel memberships, and also to IMAV from the Subscribe Star. My friends, fight for your freedom. It is yours. Fight for your liberty. It belongs to you. I'm getting that all mixed up because my brain's a jumble today. And until next time, Sic Semper Tyrannis.